actually, we should talk about that because the point of today's stream is talking about some minor changes we are going to make. uh, so number one, we talked about this a little bit either earlier in the week or last week, which is changing the Patreon. Because yeah, you're tremendous at segues, and Heelys. Because I think the Patreon right now is relatively low fulfillment. I'm incredibly grateful to everybody who is subscribed to the Patreon, and this is not going to be a call to action to have you find folk if you're not subscribe to it now. But I think it's been relatively low satisfaction. The biggest group of signups I ever saw was when being subscribed to the Patreon was how you got your commander deck roasted. And since we took it off there, a great number of people have been very generous and have stayed on anyway, and I appreciate all of them. And I want to change it so that there is more of a chance that they can be getting something that they feel good about, and that way I can feel good about. Right, you have a Patreon. The reason I don't advertise it is because I don't think it's good. I refuse to advertise shit that I don't think is has a great use case. And I think the same goes for my Patreon. Like the use case of my Patreon right now is you are very nice to me. I like that. I'm not running an ad for that. And so like right now uh I think the only like bits of satisfaction that people are getting are you are in the credit roll on long videos or you are in the verbal shout out thing. Um and that's, I think kind of the bare minimum. I would like to change that. So in terms of what I'm going to be changing it to, now that I finally have the YouTube stream up, let me go to a slideshow. Let's open a slideshow and talk about what's going to be different. Necrotoxic, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Sure, I guess analytics time. This is tangentially related to analytics. Oh, we can. I haven't done the next one yet. Never mind. Never mind. I haven't done the next one yet. 2,657 unread emails is scary. I get like 20 bogus emails a day about like, hey, can you advertise our product for free? Hey, do you want a Steam key to our unfinished game? And can you advertise it for free? Seb, thank you so much. I got my haircut yesterday because I'm going to be on Pack It Up this weekend. So I wanted to look fresh. Hello, Triple Mango Thread. Everybody give a round of applause to our YouTube editor. Thank you for stopping by. Yes, Seb, it will be my second appearance on the show. Okay. So Patreon stuff. Z and I were talking about this. Z had a lot of good ideas. I think one thing I am definitely going to pull the trigger on, but we're going to be talking together about exactly how I pull the trigger on this, is sending out tokens. Now, the way I want to do it, hold on, I got to change these fonts are, yeah, big Comic Sans. Zilla, thank you for the 13 months at tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home. Malta, my Discord account has been hacked and I no longer have access to your community. I've sent you a friend request for my new account. Please help. Yeah, we can figure that out. Roddy, I do not have a favorite MTG artist. I am not yet deep enough in MTG art stuff. I'm not deep enough in MTG art stuff to really know. And then 1 second. All right. Speaking of analytics, I was sad to see the Goblin Kindred video didn't get any noticeable boost from the conversation that I inadvertently got started in the convo. What is the goblin? Which video is the Goblin Kindred? Regardless. Um, so the first thing we're gonna do is do in part. Oh, I'm gonna laser beam ads into the brain to get pre rolls. So I think there's two options. Oh, the short you said did abysmally, but you had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, yeah, it happens. I just didn't. I didn't have. I was not critical enough of. I think there's a property in comedy particularly, and short form internet comedy in particular. There's a property of the stuff you're doing that is just relatability, and it doesn't have to be funny, but you have to be, if you're trying to do something that is ever going to be comedic, you have to have an incredibly high bar for relatability in the moments that are not the funniest shit ever. You can be Kenku, yes. We're talking about things I've already decided to add, and then if somebody spitballs something, I'll consider it. And so, I talked about this. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna do that format again, but I tried to be funny too quickly without it being super funny. I think the I think the opening line shouldn't even have been that funny. Like the first 5 seconds, I think probably shouldn't even have been that funny, but should have been more relatable. Because I think I went into like, oh, he's doing some type of weird bit too quickly, and the people who did not super love that comedic style were gone. And I should have done more setup. I should have just done better setup and then gone for a better joke. Lumberjack, I did get a haircut yesterday. All right, anyway. So we're going to send out tokens. Now, the way in which we send out these tokens, there's two different ways we could handle it. We can either do unplayable joke tokens. Now, what I mean by unplayable joke tokens is we saw a custom card on stream, I think maybe last week, that was called Beg. And it was a 1 white mana spell that said counter target spell unless opponent pays 0 mana. So it was like mana tithe, mana tithe, but it didn't even work. And so I think the tokens that I send out could either be I contract an artist and I get them to do a Mauled-Hound-esque art style for actual tokens. Like we make a hound token, we make, clues, treasures, food, all the stuff that people actually use to play Magic the Gathering. Or it could probably be an and. It doesn't have to be an or. But we could mix in stuff that was like a fuck you token, which is a 0 mana instant with split second that lets you tell somebody you really don't like the card they just played. So from people who are in chat right now, do things like that have any actual interest to you, or is that not getting played at your table no matter what? If it was or, I'd rather it be playable ones. Okay, if it was and, would you... Ira of Dawn, thank you for the 10 stream streak. I appreciate you coming to the dog park. I'd prefer mostly usable, but I dig some good jokes. Okay, so maybe we do like... Maybe we do like one joke token a year. Double-sided, real in one, joke on the other. I think then, I don't know how much this is going to cost. I know that other people send out tokens. What I'm worried about is if I am I do not want to commit to potentially making this too expensive. And I have no idea if double-sided tokens are more expensive to produce than printing the art on one side and like a token back on the other. Um, but it would also double, I think, the work requirement from me. Like there would be more note keeping about, oh, this is the token that has a bird on one side and this joke on the other. Oh, this is the token that has blah 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 blah. So I think it would be simpler and easier. It would be simpler and easier uh just did if I just did it one sided. Mason, yes, I am, and I will be talking about that in just a couple minutes. Right, that's what I'm thinking, White Bread, is we do, okay, variety of usable tokens plus April Fool's token. Playable tokens have the issue of you quickly run out of common tokens. Like, I don't need a goblin token. Okay. A set of negative emblems that each player could start the game with. I think that's a little too inside baseball. Unfortunately, I love inside jokes. I think inside jokes are very important to building a community. I think if this is the stuff that I am giving to you guys so that you can like show it off, I think that is too inside baseball. I don't know if I had a mauled goblin token of you with the sriracha. I'd love that. I think we would do something like that. Both are edited? Holy fuck. Thank you, Triple Mango Threat. You're a hero. Rib Salad, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home. The other thing I wanted to throw out for this. You guys have seen me work in MS Paint. We understand the quality or lack thereof that is happening when I try to draw something. Another thing I was considering is having the higher tiers be able to request hand drawn or like yeah, sure. I'm doing alter in all caps to not put the words proxy on this stream. Um and I don't know yet exactly what tier that would be at. Like I'm imagining for these tokens, these would kick in at like the $5 to $10 tiers and up. That's what this idea is for. This idea is for what can, because right now the people who are subscribed to the $5 to $10 tiers effectively get like nothing, and I really want to change that. Um, and so I think the regular tokens being sent out at the 5 to 10 makes sense, and then maybe I could have like every couple months. Cairo, I don't want to set up a pipeline like that. They're suggesting lower tiers get to make tokens, mid tiers get to vote, and high tiers get to suggest ideas and give feedback. I think that is too. A very important part of this is we do not want to introduce a bunch of new feedback loops. That will cause it to break down immediately. If I have to go like, okay, let me check what the $5 tiers said, and then bring it to the $10 tiers, and then uh, reconvene with the $20 tiers, that's adding like 3 new meetings a month that that would either be difficult to schedule or manage. These would be physical cosmic. These would be a physical thing. Um, so no, not only is this not a call to action, don't sign up for the Patreon right now because I have to ask Nerd Girl's help with setting this up. So this is definitely not something that's going to be like happening in January. Do not sign up for it now. There will be a I will do a bunch of announcements on all of my channels when this shit is changed. Um, Maybe for the lower tiers, you could request commander reviews with suggested tokens that can be printed at home. I imagine sending out the tokens would cost more than you'd make from the Patreon. I don't think that's true because a lot of people do it. Like it's a very, very common thing. And the way it would probably work, so we're going to get rid of unplayable joke tokens. That idea is dead. I know what decked out does, because it is expensive, is tokens get sent out every other month. Yes, Grumpy Dragoon. Decked Out is who suggested. Nerd Girl is who originally was like, you get some fucking tokens. Get some fucking tokens. Zerthoshak, I appreciate that so much. I don't think I will need your help on logistics because I have people I can lean on who already do this for their Magic Patreons. And so I think I will have it. I think logistics I can contract out already. Okay, so we already had Chessville say the tokens would motivate me to move from the $1 tier to the $5 tier. That's great. That's exactly the type of shit I want to do right now. I want to provide something that you can get and be like, yes, this was worth it. Awesome. So is there... Hello, Mark. Welcome to the TikTok stream. Thank you for stopping by. 5 to 10, you can make a commander deck based on a card asked on Moxfield. That is far too much work for $5 to $10. Unless it's a bad deck. Like I could throw together a nothing whatever deck over $5 to $10. So let's actually, on that point, let's jump ahead because there is an idea like that. MLP, I do not want to do 1 or 2 vouchers because I'll think about it, but I'm worried about crossing streams like that. Army Hitch, you do have usable or related experience. You are a person who likes things, and so you are a wonderful soundboard, especially like people who are not already subscribed to the Patreon and don't already have skin in the game. Even if you never subscribe, your feedback is very useful right now. Yeah, designing alters of commanders you personally like or are voted for and mailing those out could also be fun. I agree with that. I think for um I think the question would be if it was, let's say this happens at like 20. At $20, you get one hand-drawn mauled proxy every month. Is there anybody who hears that and goes, yeah? Tokens seem more viable than alters unless you are actually commissioning an artist. I think there would be, we would be commissioning an artist. That's so much work for you even at 20. You wildly overestimate how good these drawings are going to be. How good of an artist are you? Do we have MS Paint open right now? That would pretty quickly get overwhelming, right? I don't, I'm not convinced it would. I think it depends on how much pressure I put on myself. How much pressure, I had a fucking cat hair on my tongue. To make the proxy easier for you, it would need to make it the same for everybody. I don't think that's true though. Like I don't I'd consider doing it once, but probably not month after month for $20. Okay. They don't need to be good. It's still going to take ages. It takes minor authors months to sign books, and that takes 10 seconds per book. Right, but let's like, if let's say this does get out of control, and I have 50 people 50 people sign up for that. That's a thing I can curtail by putting a limit on the tier. Patreon and Ko-Fi both allow me to. Patreon doesn't let me put a limit on stuff I sell in a shop, but Patreon lets me put a limit on how many people sign up for a given tier. And so I could do some practice drawings and be like, how long does this take? And then go, how long am I willing to do this each month? And it would probably become a stream day. Like, it would be like, today's art day. We're gonna yap while Maldhound scribbles a bunch of alt arts for these commanders. And then if I'm like, I really only want to spend a couple hours doing this. Like, once a month I'll spend a couple hours on it. Any more than that, I don't want to do it. Um I could just cap it at 20. Yeah, this is the art quality, by the way. This is the art quality that we're talking about. I would probably get a like little iPad and digital stylus for that. So this would be the art quality. Um no, we're still sponsored by Troper. Troper Incorporated. 1 second. Ugh. I'm so sorry. I thought I had answered. Yes, it is. Yes, they are. I'd sign up once or twice for special events. Okay. So I think I'm sold on that. So we're gonna have I'm gonna contract somebody um and work out the back end on getting, normal tokens sent out. And I think even my normal tokens would be a little bit funny. Like, if we did a goblin token, the goblin token I'm going to ask for is 100% draw me as a homunculus holding a bottle of sriracha and like spraying it. And that's the Maldhound goblin token. So they're all going to be unserious and they're all going to be a bit tongue in cheek. Mald, I just said GG in a game and I got hit with your mother's vagina by the opponents. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Oh, you have the wall of names 5 to 10. You can put patron names on the back of card sleeves you play on decked out and the like. Uh, I could. I don't think that happens often enough. Like, the problem that I want to solve right now is the Patreon does not provide regular benefits. I want extremely regular, tangible benefits for being a patron subscriber that makes you happy. I do not want. I will consider, after we work out the foundation, doing more spectacle stuff. Like, oh, if you're in this tier, you have a chance of being, shouted out by name when I do this thing with this person. Da 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 da. Um, what I gotta get on top of is something you can get every month, every other month, whatever, that you like, and you go, ha, I'm very glad I paid Jonathan Maldhound $10 for the pleasure of this. I desperately need Mauled tokens, but they're all you cosplaying as other content creators associated with the tokens. So Mauled in prof suit for merfolks. That's pretty funny. White Bread, it's not coming out for a couple months because the day we were supposed to film it was when I got super sick and I was missing for like a week. That was when we had set aside time to film it. And so we're going to be filming it in the next couple weeks, but because of Decked Out's internal pipeline, that because of Decked Out's internal pipeline, that means it will come out till like March. Also, DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Speaking of tokens, use code MALD at Cool Stuff Inc. and you still get a Maldhound token. Exactly. Uh, so let's talk about the bigger shit. Here is the Crimson, thank you for all the bits. What about a $100 tier where you post something that I cannot name lest I be banned from Twitch immediately? No. Yeah, Gravity, please go ahead. Okay, so let's talk about the biggest, most ridiculous one that I am not currently sold on. And I'm debating if I have this share, I'm debating if this lives on Patreon. Because it's gonna be, because it's a lot of money. Because it's gonna be a lot of money, and Patreon takes a bigger cut than Ko-Fi. So potentially Ko-Fi might be a Patreon tier where you have like one person who could subscribe to it a month. This would be sponsor a video, and you would be allowed to either send me a deck or a deck idea and I will make the coveted structured deck roast, non-live deck roast. And I'm not gonna lie, Twitch showed me a big shiny button and I didn't realize it was send 100 bits without confirmation every time you tap it, but hey, love the content anyway, so enjoy the 6. Thank you, Crimson, I'm so sorry you got fucking Skinner box, dog. DMC, thank you for the 100-bit cheer. Boss, why are you tempting me with a long form roast of the Wayman deck? Right, that's the tempting. And I think it would be, I think it would probably match the Mango Money moment. Does this mean no Kickstarter? Yes, I am probably moving away from that based on my inability to action any of it on top of my current work schedule. Which is unfortunate. I do still want to bring some version of that idea to life, but looking at looking at how successful I've currently been at implementing these work routines, I think that will go over like the Hindenburg, and I would rather implement the parts of it I can implement than just like haymaker or something I know I'm gonna do wrong. So this is the one I'm most ambivalent about because my inability to make content on demand has never been super reliable. Now, for $500, I'll get reliable. Some of this will also be dictated by how the boot.dev video does. I'm assuming that one won't do very well because it is a corporate sponsor. And so some people will check out because they'll be like, oh, a corporation sponsored this video, whatever. But the next YouTube video we have coming out is just boot.dev's deck roast, if you were here for that day. And it is just their deck roast with their custom commander card boots. And so this would be a little bit different than that because that was still cut down from a live stream, and this would be, we don't do it live. You send me the thing, or you send me the thing you want it to be, and then I do it on my end. It gets published within the month. Or we like work out a schedule internally and get it done. So by $200, you do a long form custom card review and actually have the time to figure out how to make the card work in Commander or see EDH. I frankly don't think I'm qualified to charge that much. Yes, I think there could be. I think there could be. I would probably allow you to have a custom commander. I doubt I would let you have multiple custom cards within the 99. Also, Pop Culture Kenku, the other problem is the custom card review streams or the custom card review videos do incredibly bad. So I'm willing to try to sell, I'm willing to sell like a sponsored deck roast video because those can do well. I have faith in my ability to execute those well, and I have faith in my ability to execute those well both live and scripted. The custom card videos, most people don't care, and they have done nothing but fall off since I began posting them. The very first one we did, the very first one we did pretty well with elk, and then every single one we did after that lost like 25 to 30% viewership, just every time. And the same thing has happened to the streams. The custom card streams have taken the custom card streams have both been my most and least viewed Magic the Gathering streams. And the trend line has been incredibly negative. It has not been high variance. It has been, when we started doing them, a couple weeks of incredibly high viewership, and then they have been declining. I agree, Sandrain. A lot of people come to the custom card streams to get their custom cards looked at. A lot of people don't like to watch other people. Boss, NGL seasonal depression has taken me and maybe others off of watching just all content. I think that's true. I view that as a challenge. Like part of the reason I got into, or the reason I love comedy and the reason I love theater in general, is because that is the stuff that got me through really, really difficult and depressing times in my life. And if the sads are making people go like, oh, I don't really want to watch today, I think that's on me to be so compelling an entertainer that there's some way, right? More so I have to stop looking at the little box so much. Oh, I get that for sure. We should endeavor to peel ourselves away from our screens when we can. The long form roast would not be. I would say the long form, what you're paying for here, think like elk, salubrious snail, quips and guac. That type of energy. It is like, it is the visual format. The visual format would not be me in a corner talking about the deck as I scroll through it. It would probably be some use of green screen. It would probably be some use of like me in this screen standing back in the room doing bits that are more physical. Hop up, lady. Come here, lady. Yeah, come on. Who's a good kitty? She's waiting for me to not look at her so she can claw up the side of my leg unexpectedly. So regardless, the Moss is doing great. We're gonna get the cat cam for everybody. And then damn, Mauled has a lot of unemployed people in his stream. I think America has a lot of unemployed people in its Twitch stream right now. Frankly. I think America has a little bit of an unemployment thing going on. I cranked myself a little bit for you, time. Let me know if that's better. How does a $500 video roast interact with a $500 instant deck roast? That's a good question, and frankly, I'm not sure. I think the way it interacts is I'm not sure. And then to circle back with Starry-Eyed Nightwing, how much production rights would the other person get over it? I think it would be limited. I think we would have a discussion about the like energy that you wanted. but I don't think it could be much more than that without it beginning to get bogged down. Just an idea, but if you submit your deck for a roast, maybe you can improve the deck and send back a proxy version so we can test it with our playgroup. That was actually an idea thrown around for the Kickstarter version of this project, and I'm worried about it because Wizards will view that as me selling proxies, and I will be sued instantly. No matter how clever I want to be, if I tell you guys, hey, if you pay for this, part of what you will receive are playtest cards to try out the version of the deck I recommend, that's selling proxies. It's not selling specific ones, it's not selling pre-guaranteed ones, but I will be nuked from orbit by a Hasbro satellite if I do that. Aegis Athene, thank you for the 200-bit cheer. What's poppin'? Baldy replaced caffeine with a new, better drug that starts with C and ends in E. And how are you? Well, I'm not on codeine like you are. Holy fuck. I think that works, right? Yeah, codeine works. I know you were fishing for cocaine, you little rat, but I couldn't think of a totally ambivalent one. Hell yeah, Kaiser. I love background content. I love background content. Pop Culture Kenku, another great idea that has been recommended to me. I am not ever going to connect short form roasting to a monetary incentive. Hi, baby girl. Who's so sweet and precious? Who's got a coat that's so luscious? Who's never done anything wrong in her whole life? Hey, baby. What are your opinions on Super Saiyan 4 Goku? That guy rocks. That guy fucking rocks. Uh, so I don't know how this would interact with the $500 instant roast. I think a meaningful difference is I don't think that I would. I think I would only sell one a month. I do not think this would be a thing that was like, because the $500 instant roast is like whenever, wherever, right? Make it happen. This would be, I have to plan this. I have to take time to script this. If you are just asking me to make the deck, I would have to take time to build the deck. You mentioned custom card content not being the best, but what if for $10 or something you could send in custom cards and you proxy them out into a big central tower that everybody draws from, like in Card Market? While people don't like custom card reviews, it's always funny to watch people play batshit cards and watch them interact. So there's the thing. We're now going from like custom cards don't work to I got to start filming gameplay, which super doesn't work. And the thing is, custom card content does work. It just hasn't worked bringing it beyond a stream. It works great as a stream. It is very like it is tiring. Some do better than others. The view analytics are not good, but it is financially viable to continue doing as a stream forever and ever and ever. So other thing, and this would definitely be a limited. Yeah, like some things are just going to be streams. That's what custom cards are, that, quite frankly. I think the most we could do is like some custom cards could not creativize. It's not inspire. Some custom cards will inspire videos. That's the most we're ever going to convert. Because like the custom Azorius commander from that one deck roast inspired the unethical pro tips video. Gameplay doesn't work. I always love gameplay videos with people with good chemistry. It's the main form of NTG content I watch on YouTube. It works if you're big enough. You got to set a lot of money on fire. You have to set You have to set so much money on fire to get it off the ground. There is um I think every gameplay show I have ever spoken to that was not Shuffle Up and Play, who does like a $500,000 Kickstarter, or Game Nights, who is directly sponsored by Wizards. Every single one I've spoken to is like barely breaking even. It requires a lot of investment. It's super difficult to do. Um, if I, and I've talked about this before. There is there is a gameplay show that I want to make. The gameplay show that I want to make requires me to be a millionaire or get a millionaire corporate sponsorship, because what I want to do is take a bunch of MTG content creators and put them on an island and recreate the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! With Magic the Gathering cards. And I, of course, would play Maximilian Pegasus. And there would be like Survivor-esque physical challenges to collect like rare cards to add to your deck. Like that, they would get like shitty jumpstart decks, and they would have to go around the island solving puzzles and like rock climbing to get like to get like a Delver of Secrets. That's my and it's gonna get robbed. Somebody's gonna do it before me. But I think that needs a shitload of money to do well. You need a lot of cameras. You need a fucking island. Um, if I ever do gameplay, that's the gameplay. Eric Baum, thank you for the 8 months with Prime. Welcome back to the dog home. Turns out getting 4 adults together, filming them for 2 hours, then editing that to a good quality is expensive. Who knew? Exactly. Exactly. Who could tell? Uh, yeah, you have to like successfully hunt a rabbit to get murder. Mr. Ninja, thank you for the tier 1 sub for the 10th month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. We're not dogging you, Crimson. You didn't know. I'm letting you know. You could pitch it to Dropout. That's true. I could pitch it to Dropout. I would have to build it out a little bit more. Because me just being like, what if we ripped off Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not in and of itself an idea. I think a pitch would include, I have to come up with like the whole challenge system, the advancement system, and then I could pitch that. I don't think Dropout even has that much money. I think there are ways to do it for not $1 million. Like, it doesn't actually have to be an island. You could go to the woods. If you go to any wooded area that has like waterfront, like a lake or something, you can shoot. It just has to be like remote physical location. Remote physical location, there can be a lodge. The hardest part would be there's not going to be a castle. Like that would be the part that needs money. Is if I was going to do this, I would want to rent a castle. I would want to go to like the fucking Netherlands, because they have a shitload of castles in their countryside. And I would be like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, and then we need drama plots. Like, we need ways for players to backstab each other and stuff like that. So anyway, maybe one day we do that. Maybe one day we do that. Right, Duelist Kingdom let every contestant enter with their own decks, and we would not be doing that. And so I would probably utilize I would bring back world enchantments. So there would be global effects based on the terrain you were fighting on. But all the challenges for mine would be like, no, you're all gonna have low key dog shit. Or maybe there would be a challenge. There would be like, you could do there's a pool of established like B tier decks, and the first challenge is you get to determine the draft order. And then there's a bunch of cards around the island that are either packs or are like direct upgrades to those B tier decks. Hi, baby girl. Who's so pretty? Don't dodge my kisses. Hi, baby girl. Who's so pretty? Anyway, we're getting really far afield. We're getting really far afield. That is not happening for years, if it ever does happen. So, sponsored long form deck roast that I write, record, film off camera. The other thing that would be a big ticket item is Patreon Commander games. This is the big one. This is the probably number one thing people have advocated for me to do, that is most commonly asked for in chat, and I have been most reticent to do. Now I'm gonna walk through that reticence before we talk about the pricing and how it would be implemented if I do implement it. My reticence is mostly due to the problems that I have right now are from feeling like I am on all the time. And if I do these, I have to be on for them, right? Like, this is, even if we're playing casual, just trying to have a good time, it is performative. I am a performative person. Sorry, I thank you for the 100-bit cheer. The real question for working with Dropout is, you would be willing to have Shamreich shove you on stage on Game Changer. Hey, if I ever got to go on Game Changer, Sam Reich could beat me with a fucking hammer. Okay? Consider that waiver pre-signed. Whatever the fuck, man. Whatever the fuck he wants me to do, I'm doing it. Elikman, I like all of that. I'm not even going to perceive that right now because we got to stay focused on the Patreon stuff. Anyway. So Patreon Commander games. This would be probably, because chat brought up, that's the true potential sanity drain. I'm currently in the sanity drain. You're not derailing. I derailed and you were just like right there with me. That's not your fault, that's my fault. Right now, the sanity drain I am going through is feeling like I always have to be outputting and I am very rarely getting to intake. What I mean by that is I'm having less and less time to have the life experiences that go into the hopper that get turned into funny videos. Right? A lot of my sense of humor influenced by my early life. A lot of the allegories, metaphors, comparisons I make in the Commander Roast videos come from things that have happened to me or like errant thoughts I've had. We did little pookums. We're so pretty. So what I am most certain about right now is that I must escape the idea that I have to be posting every single day or I'm fucked. That's priority number one right now. I have a very bad taste in my mouth from trying to stream these games. So 100% these would never ever be streamed. But a lot of my distaste from streaming them came from trying to navigate both the pod and the showmanship of streaming at the exact same time. I still think that is impossible. I wish the very best of luck to all the poor doomed souls that are trying to do it on Twitch today. But the hopeful side of me is the side of me that wants to believe I would be able to expose myself to funny and new situations. Like, let's say a game goes wrong. Um, let's say a game goes wrong, a game goes right, somebody pops off. Like, it's good for me to be exposed to more and more magic with a greater variety of people. Post every couple of days, and every other day you aren't posting proper content. You just post an image of your face with the caption, "Give me engagement." That's a good one. That's a good one. Uh, so what leaves me on the fence about this is for this to net positive sanity, right? Because it has to be priced. It has to be priced at such a high level that um, it is meaningfully impacting the internal belief that I have to be posting a banger every single day. Um, and there's also the issue of what happens when one person's soul rings into turn 5 win and the other people feel scammed. We would have to do like probably bracket system rule 0 conversations beforehand. My initial thinking for it is like the pods would be for 2 games and or 3 hours. Like after 3 hours, I turn into a pumpkin. Fun time over. Not meme decks only. Meme decks only would actually be the worst thing we could do. Every time we did this for stream. If we told people to bring meme decks, everyone's idea of what a meme is so different that it's just a disaster. We wouldn't do draft commander. Again, we're not. I don't want to overcomplicate any of this. All it would be the pod guarantees 2 games or 3 hours. It would not be a raffle. You also cannot do. You cannot have Patreon members sign up to be in a raffle. Yeah, it would be like bracket system, and we would probably have people bring like multiple decks. So first thought is that it would be a 3 hour pod, and it would either be like 2 games or however many games we could get in the 3 hours. So that if somebody just gets the like nut draw and runs over the table, reset. Instead of it being, you have this one opportunity to play Magic, and if it goes wrong, fuck you. Good evening, Shocking Squirrel. Um, And then the issue becomes this. I think the pricing for this to net positive sanity is extremely expensive. It would be priced between $100 and $150, and this would be you. It would be capped to like 1 pod per month to see how it goes. In fact, I'd say remove the 2 game and just make it a 3 hour window. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Just sign it up ahead of time to Oh, hello. How you doing, Hermit? How you doing, man? Would it be possible to make it so that people can't just constantly get in the pod? Like if you got in game night A, they wouldn't be able to rejoin the pod until game night D. This would be once a month. Okay, what do you do if 4 people or more sign up for this tier? You can cap it. I think whether it is Ko-Fi, uh, whether it's Ko-Fi or Patreon, I can when I say, "Hey, make this tier," I can tell it, "Don't let more than 3 people sign up for this tier." Job done. Um, and then I can, in future in future months, I can be like, um, but wouldn't that let the same 3 people monopolize? That is a good point. That was a problem with the because when Patreon told me 3 hours is still a long time, which is why this is so expensive. If we do at the top end, it's 3 hours for $450. That is $450 is like the same revenue as like 8 or 9 shorts, which is currently 8 or 9 hours of work. So this at the high end is like triple return. Oh man, I'm sorry you're having a bad one. You did tell me. You have been telling me the whole time. Um and so if we do the low end, it's 300, which is like still that's still like 4 or 5 shorts worth of revenue. What's your current talent time? It's adorable you think I have a talent time. It should be closer to what you charge for the games. So Decked Out and I Decked Out and I have a quid pro quo where um I've refused payment for most of my gameplay with them because I like them, and I don't pay Veggie and Nerd Girl don't get a cut from custom card streams because of it. So I am getting paid. I fucking guarantee I have made more off Veggie's back than they have made off of mine. So don't worry, I'm getting my money there. I do get paid for the podcast because I'm like a co-owner of the podcast, and so I do get paid, but the podcast doesn't have super high viewership. We don't have like crazy sponsors or anything, so the podcast is a very small amount of money. But I do get paid directly for the podcast, uh, and then yeah, right now I think I don't get. I refuse payment. They've tried to pay me. They have tried to pay me for the gameplay show, and I just like send it back or I don't accept it. I'm like, that's too bad. I hear feet pics are all the rage in certain circles. Yeah, Pleasant Kenobi told me about that. He was like, I have a feet pic tier as a joke, and people do it. You can make it that 2 people will play with you in Z. I think that would cost less sanity and be more fun. Oh, but here's the thing. That then cuts the income by that cuts a third off the income, which costs more sanity. Like the problem right now is I feel is the problem right now is the hamster wheel. The problem is not the problem is not like ability to do it or like how like I think most of the games would go well, quite frankly. Most of the problems that I had doing community games before, all of them stemmed all of them stemmed from playing it on stream. Like I really think these would go well and not be frustrating for the most part. As long as we have if a game runs longer than 3 hours, do you call it at 3? If I think the rule we would probably use um is like at 2 hours and 50 minutes, a descent into Avernus spawns onto the table. So that it's not just like 3 hours, it's a draw. But I would do some type of thing that at like 2 hours and 50 minutes, there is some type of stage hazard that is going to be introduced to make that game end. I wonder if $100 a game will increase the longevity compared to 150. I guess it depends on the demand. Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the demand. Are people allowed to play green in these games? No, no, not at all. Um, Sad to Tameo noises. You could bring the Tameo deck. Fuck you mean low viewership on the podcast, LMAO. It's basically the only thing I watch from Decked Out. I love the vibe. I mean, dog, listen, we're working on it. It is it's like most podcast episodes will break 10,000 views and not break 20,000 views. Would you let me bring my custom commanders? Yeah. We would have to clear it with the table. Alec Man, I don't think I did. No. I mean, you yourself said, and I quote, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to sit down and play Commander with this. Well, guess what? I love lying. What happened to the hot takes you asked us to post? They took them and they were like, we're doing it with other people. We're sitting on them basically. Like the side note, another thing we're trying to do with the podcast is when trending drama happens, we're trying to be more on top of filming something instantly. Because the podcast doesn't do super well, we're like we need to err on the side of posting more to keep refining the vibe and to keep like working on our presentation styles. And so like the uh one day. One day. Is it okay to not want to play against custom cards? The vibe I get is you're lame if you don't let people do it. I don't think you're lame if you don't let people do it. It's totally fine to not want to play against custom cards. I basically I have a very persistent feeling like most custom cards, not all, but most custom cards are either openly OP or they are designed to turn on like one specific combo in the deck that ends up being OP. Both of those are frustrating. There's a small slice, like 20% of custom cards, that are just straight up reasonable. But there's a lot that are really frustrating to play. Okay. Um, so like this got filmed. This got filmed instead of the hot takes because we were talking about it and we filmed like all four of these on I think like the same day or two. Like across 2 days we filmed all four of these episodes and hot takes was on the list and we were frankly getting a little bit tired and we went like, okay, well hot takes it's not going to get old. We have all of them like pulled up in this Discord now. There's not an expiration date on them. And so we're just sitting on that episode cuz Veggie like went home to see his family for the holidays. So he's not here to film with. Oh, Ruckley, I'm glad you liked Dies to Removal. I really liked that one. I really, really liked that one. They stopped me after and they were like, "Is it okay that we were just kind of like fucking dunking on you the whole time?" And I was like, "That was perfect. This is the best thing we have ever filmed. This is the greatest dynamic we have ever filmed." You've got a point because I've actually been struggling trying to build around Arleon. It just feels kind of like Esper Jetmir in the command zone, but I have to jump through a bunch of 3 hoops and only 2 overlap. Yeah, then you may want to simplify a little bit. Is there a way on Ko-Fi to limit people from signing up for multiple Commander games? We put out like 3 games. I think I could do that on a person-to-person basis, quite frankly, because if we do that on Ko-Fi, if I do it on Ko-Fi, I can put a note on the commission that says like, please don't sign up for 2 months in a row. And if you sign up for a second month in the row and you're the same person, I can be like, hey, please don't do that. And then I can refund your purchase and kick you out and free up your slot. Yeah, like at one pod a month, I can 100% manage that on an individual basis. I do not need to have like a protection system in place. I can just tell people, "Hey, no." And so why do they get a refund? They broke the terms. It's their loss. It's $150, and we're commander players. They can't read. I'm not precious like that. Like again, let's be repeat offenders, maybe. Yeah, like if you come into the game and do something shitty and I kick you out, I'm keeping your money for sure. Like you come in and you drop a slur, I'm kicking you out of the spell table game and I'm keeping your money. Or if you like every month buy it and I tell you, we'll probably do like a three strike rule. If month after month you come in and you buy a slot and I'm like, "Hey, please take a month off so other people have a chance," and you keep doing it, um I, lost me at spell table. Where would you want it then? Would you want it like tabletop simulator? Because we could do that too. Uh, Mass, I do think it could cause an issue. I don't think it would be a big one. Yeah, yeah. Spell table versus tabletop simulator versus cockatrice is like we could change that every single month. We could just vote in the pod. We could just vote within the pod. Isn't tabletop simulator like $10? Oh god, we could do untap.in. We used that for some of the streamed games, and everybody used fucking big titty proxies. Do you think a signed cheap card for like 10 to 20 a month would do anything for you? I have considered that. That's one of the ones I feel the worst about because I sign stuff for free at convention. But I could totally do like, this is the amount of money for which you get to mail me a card and I will sign it very nicely and handle mailing it back to you. How much do I have to pay to get you to sign Confessor? $10,000. Are you planning on attending any of the MagicCons this year? Right now, the plan is to skip Vegas unless I have a paid gig to do there. I will definitely, and Z will definitely be at MagicCon Amsterdam. I still see this being an issue personally. You'll have the richest fans buying every 2 or 3 months instead of allowing the people who want to save up the money to do it just once being allowed to play. I think you'll see the same faces every single month because they have the money to get in. I agree with that, and I think that's a relatively good outcome. If I think about the outcomes of that, who's down, who's up? The people who have the disposable income to do it, I get a lot of money. They get a lot of satisfaction. The people who don't have high amounts of disposable income have been motivated to save money, and they have not been able to spend it on time with me, and they can now spend it on rent or dental work. Especially if we compare it to what the status quo is, because the status quo is you currently have no chance no matter what. There's there's currently no chance no matter what. And so you go from a 0% chance to play that commander game to a non-0% chance. And because it is an expensive thing, it will be, yes, probably dominated by the people who have a lot of disposable income, but that is going to be true for anything that is not a raffle. And if I make you pay to enter a raffle for this, I get shot by the police. I get shot by the gambling gun instantly. And I want this to, at all times, I want high customer satisfaction. I feel like the way that I build stability in this industry is by having every time you see one of my videos or every time you give me money, you walk away being like, yeah. And the times this channel had the lowest customer satisfaction was when it was a variable reward. Yeah, and Crimson, I think the only way we would get a really high churn is if we did multiple pods a month. And that's probably not gonna happen. Cause like, oh hell yeah, Spellbreaker. Congratulations on locking the fuck in. I wish you the best, the chained one. I'm gonna laser beam some ads into the head to get rid of the pre-roll demons. And then we're gonna keep going for a minute. Kashmir Akil, thank you for gifting a sub to Dissonance. Welcome back to dog heaven. Cause if we're being so for real, the thing I am trying to capture right now is time to think. I need time to let my brain wander. And I need experiences that my brain can wander through and pull comedy out of. So there's a balance here where depending on pricing and depending on how many of these I do, it frees up time. Because like right now, if I'm not on camera, I'm like, oh fuck, I have to get a short done. Do I have a good idea for a short? Fuck, I don't have a great idea for a short. I'll figure something out. And then even if I get the short done, it's immediately like, oh man, that short wasn't good enough. I got to come up with the next short. Oh fuck, I don't have an idea for the next short. Oh man, what am I going to do? I'll figure something out. And that loop repeats over and over and over again. And I feel very confident that I have ways to escape it. Is it bad? All I know how to play on Magic is Kindred. First point, Tribal's updated to Kindred now. It's not bad. I think you know how to play more than that. I think you're probably just like inexperienced with it. So we probably won't do multiple pods a month because multiple pods a month would demand enough time that I would not net up time or sanity. And that's what we're trying to net up. I'm trying to. Oh, and here's another conviction that I wanted to open the stream with that really like dug into my heart because Z and I just like were fucking glued to the bed. We were exhausted today, and we were exhausted yesterday. I think one of the most unhealthy things about me is that I love stability. I love stability despite hating it deep, deep down. And so what I constantly try to do with my work periods is I treat myself like I'm a character in a strategy game. And I'm like, okay, we are producing. We're producing. We're producing. We're going to do what we can to make production go up over time. And we're going to go down a little bit if we get sick, if we get tired. But we're producing. We're producing. We're producing. And I think what I want to move to is I need to accept All right, crackhead day, I'm doing nothing. Crackhead day, I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing again because I feel like it. Crackhead day. Because I have had Saber. Thank you for the 100-bit cheer. I'm glad. I am so glad the people agree with me. I am so glad the people agree with me on combat pressure as removal. But welcome to the dog pile, my friend. Also, bro said I love stability while being a content person on the internet. My degree is chemical engineering, bro. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Um, yes, Moss. Progress is nonlinear, but I'm not even talking about the progress over a period of like weeks or months. That's always going to be nonlinear. I'm just talking about like my weekly schedule right now is too focused on every single day I make this one thing or these two things. And I think it would be healthier for me to get a grip on a schedule that was uh like Monday we're going to do a lot, and then Tuesday we're not going to do anything. I would liken it to I would liken it to weightlifting. Like I'm doing like my current content training plan is just bad load management. That's what's going on right now. And what I need to not need to what I want to move to, and I think will be healthier to move to, is big day, easy day. Big day, easy day. Big day, managing the big fat loads, MLP. Right, you have to use your high output manic days to cover your ass on the low output manic day. Correct. And Uncle Cardboard, what has been happening is because it's been going so well and I've put so much pressure uh Sam, okay. Got it. I've locked in the heuristic. Because it's been going so well, do you struggle with perfectionism? Not at all. I've never spent 9 hours trying to come up with one cock joke for Rusco. That's never happened. Um, so I think what's been happening is by always not having or by not having rest days, by convincing myself I could like manage out the rest days by just doing a little bit every day, my ability to do the big days has decreased. And what's very scary is trying to think about like if my daily work capacity has become limited by pushing myself on a daily basis too much, it's likely not going to be successful by being like, okay, well, I will get it under control. I will get it under control by doing a big day, right? Because I'm not going to be able to meet this bar. Maybe like because of all the green, my total work capacity is only like this much. Like that's the ceiling, or what the ceiling feels like in my soul right now. Yeah, we got to stop button mashing. Exactly. Um, but it's kind of like the fatigue meter or the energy meter. It's like a game where your energy meter is empty, but you're under so much pre. Oh my god, Dark Souls, right? Um, was there a Dark Souls game where you couldn't panic roll forever? Because that's kind of what's happening. Is it feels like I am fighting a Dark Souls boss, and I need to let my stamina recharge to start like figuring out charge attacks. Um, but I'm under so much pressure from the boss that I can't fucking stop dodge rolling. Yes, it was called Elden Ring. I feel like I could dodge roll forever in that game though. There were some fights where I dodge rolled for like fucking entire minutes. All right, then it's just any um then it's Elden Ring. Elden Ring, any Dark Souls game. My stamina bar is just low, and the pressure feels too high to let it fill back up. And so I want to make all the Patreon changes, because having greater financial stability there feels like it will help buy me the mental space. Um, Alec, man, you're too deep in the specifics. Oh yeah. Elden Ring bosses have weird timings around rolling. Don't think about that. Just think about like things attacking you. Thing is attacking you. You have to keep dodge rolling. Your stamina bar is empty. That's the end of the comparison. Bloodborne had a mechanic where if you went to zero stamina and it was longer to recharge, that if you went to zero, it took longer to recharge than if you had a little bit left and then stopped. Yeah, that's what's happening basically. Is I keep Did this camera just fucking die? What in the hell? All right, TikTok stream is dying so that we can reclaim the camera for Twitch stream. Oh, Crimson, that's fucking awesome, dog. I'm so happy for you. Lap Kitty is the best. Yeah, we're PNG tubing right now. Give me one sec. Da, da, da. And now new Cam Hound takes over old Cam Hound. Great. Phenomenal. We've done it. Why did you mog me for a second? That's how I'm moving. That's how I'm doing. Okay. So let's return to the details instead of just waxing philosophical about it. So there's for sure some worries about me tweaking. But broadly, there is interest in paying for Commander Pot a month. We would time limit it, as many games as we could fit in. We would have a Rule Zero discussion about what level of play we were operating at. We would do our best to make sure we're not bullying the fuck out of people. Da 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 da. Can I screenshot your forehead and play tic-tac-toe on it on Twitter? I need about $2 for that. That's the going rate for forehead licensing. All right, so there's positive sentiment there. I don't know who's doing this, but based on the fact that the instant speed roast has ever been purchased, I think doing sponsored long form deck roast, there's probably interest in that. I think we would probably like do open deck lists ahead of time. I wouldn't want to do a lot. I wouldn't want to do a lot of like nitpicking. Oh, can you not play that one card? You know, oh, can you not do that one thing? But we would probably do like open deck list ahead of time. How many instant roasts have been purchased? Like 15 or 16. Very many. And I am incredibly grateful. I have noticed the interest in them has dropped off over time. So another thing that we may not have time to talk about today is another way to restructure the roast streams to liven them up again. Because as I've think talked about before, is the Twitch viewership has been steadily falling since the subathon. I'm going to stop you all who are like, oh, it was a subathon, of course it's going to fall. It has been steadily falling past pre-subathon levels. I think the most likely culprit is it's the fucking middle of winter and it's the holidays. So a lot of people who watch are probably at home with their families. But regardless, I don't think it's ever a bad time to think about how to up the showmanship. Also, Benjamin, thank you for the 7 months at Prime. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Or working longer hours, true, yeah. All right, so there's interest in both of these things. There is interest in tokens. There is interest in hand-drawn proxies. Tier will have to be limited. Right, variety games. Let's talk about that, because that's a really fun thing. Like, you know what I really want to do? And this is going to be incredibly conceited. This is going to be incredibly conceited. But you know why I want this stability? Because the thing that is eating my brain right now is I want to make a, like, 10-minute deep-fried dumbass joke video about Into the Breach. That game was fun to play. I want to do one for Night Rain. I want to do the, like, Wayne's Discount Bonporium stuff in Night Rain again. And all of those things are like, if I make that, that is 10 whole dollars in my pocket. As a creative, I can make that video and love that video. As Maldhound, the business, I can't make that fucking video right now. But I think on the other side of financial stability, I can make that video. Watching the streams, I have definitely felt recently that a certain sense of this probably won't become a YouTube video because it overall wasn't too funny. Interesting. Kaiser, would you be willing to define recently a little bit more? Is this like a feeling that has been persistent for 2 weeks, for 2 months? Because I love it when people are willing to, when people are willing to stand up and say like, yeah, I didn't like this one as much. Those are such useful emotions for me to dig into. But imagine if one of them pops up and you gain a new audience, risk versus reward. Right. I can't tell my landlord, hey, don't worry, the next one's gonna pop off. That's the that's the thing there. Is I can do that, and I can view it as a I can view it like I'm a venture capital firm investing a bunch of seed money in startups, and it's like, oh, most of you will fail, but if one of you pops off, it's fine. It's just right now, my like the amount of time that I have that I can dedicate towards like, you know, do this whatever thing that I think is funny and maybe it'll work out. That's just a very small amount of time. That's the time we're trying to free up with stuff that will getting out of a niche in content can be pretty damn hard. That's very true. I think these videos would go on free count anyway. These videos would go on free count anyway. But again, it's like the... Because right now, when I finish this stream, gotta handle that short, baby. If I handle that short, there's a long form video I kind of want to film about just like how to build more fulfilling commander decks. I know you've said being in stream is huge support already. With that out of the way, how much of the Decked Out podcast is the optimal amount to watch? My attention span got shot about 45 minutes in. If you're watching it at all, thank you, Brother Bear. If you are watching Decked Out and you want to support that podcast specifically, number one most helpful thing you can do, watch on Spotify. I don't know what the fuck they are doing on Spotify, but the RPM for podcasts on Spotify is like double or triple what it is. Double or triple what it is on YouTube. Decked Out has been asking me, hey, advertise Spotify specifically as a platform. So even if you don't watch the whole way through, right? You have it on while you're doing chores or something, chores finish, boop, you're done. I'm not gonna begrudge you that. Um, but that would be the number one most helpful thing to do, is not worry about how long you're watching, but if you're gonna watch it all and you're willing to try it on Spotify, that would be the way. I don't watch every stream, but I've been popping sporadically over the last month or so, but I've also felt like the decks you were reviewing weren't always that interesting, and I feel that's a factor to the funny. I think that's true, but I also think part of it's on me to uh part of that's on me to like pull the funny out of thin air, right? Like that's what the commander roasts are, is I'm taking a extremely literal and like I'm taking a fucking piece in a chess game and I'm finding the funny to it. I personally would love to see any scripted long form content. What is Z's opinion on you getting a capybara? We got cats instead. I'd say lower energy slash burnout seems to have been present from the splitting the channels video. I think that makes sense. I think that was like the decision to split the channels was when it got bad enough internally that I was like, I have to start making changes to correct this. So that tracks for me. So that's like 5-6 weeks. Yeah. I legit just wanted my Sidisi deck looked at, and in and of itself, it wasn't funny, but the revelation that, to me, of Taval being a dragoness all along was pretty funny. Like, yeah, that had some good moments, for sure. I think I've been watching less after I got priced out by the move to Ko-Fi reviews. If I'm going to submit a deck, it feels like it has to be really, really good idea to be worth the 100. Also, there's only so many times I can suggest Surveyor's Scope. That's also useful feedback. Okay. I think I need to watch more episodes of Great British Baking Show. That's the comfort content. Uh, that's the like comfort content I watch when I'm trying to think of how to present the deck roast better. Is really I'm trying to be a like crossover Prue and Paul Hollywood and the who's that slight pale man and the little bald guy who are always cracking jokes. Like I'm trying to be all four of those people all at once. Noel Fielding, yes. Okay, so then last thing, not last thing. I'll say I would like to have a better understanding of doing a deck roast if I know if when it'll be made into a YouTube video so I can show my friends. That is a very good point that I'm not convinced I can solve, or at least not convinced we can solve live right now. Uh, Fielding feedback in this way, direct, live, honest, has got to take a lot of mental capacity. It actually takes less than what it takes off stream, because off stream, I'm fighting ghosts. Like on stream, if somebody will tell me, like, oh, I've kind of felt like the jokes didn't hit as hard, or I've kind of felt like you weren't as into it since this date. Oh my God, that's like, that is healing. That's healing because it makes me feel not crazy. Because the problem with burning out as a high performer is that you keep performing pretty fucking high. And so getting direct feedback from people who are willing to say like, yeah, I've felt this not be as satisfying to me for these reasons is like, oh, I'm not insane. There is a thing that I can wrap my head around and digest and figure out how to increase satisfaction. Elegman, that does help, and that's actually one of the things I was considering doing, and other in chat suggested, I think a week or two ago, is putting putting time pressure on the roast. The number one thing that I talk to Z about, the number one thing that I'm always upset about when I finish a roast stream is I took too long for a bad reason. There are a few roasts where I really think it's like totally necessary. Um, I think there are a few roasts where it's like totally necessary that we take a long time, either because there's a very specific mechanical thing we're trying to sort out, or maybe there is a like misunderstanding between me and the roastee. But for the most part, I yeah, I think they like to me it's been that I want to watch a roast, not just generic deck building advice. There seems like there could be more separation between roasting and just basic deck advice. Interesting. Getting a link to the deck list in chat. Yeah, we could start doing that. That would be pretty easy. Okay. That's an interesting difficulty. That's an interesting thing to overcome because when I look at what people are asking for, and to some degree, I'm making a lot of inferences based on the primer and the notes they leave. Like most of the people buying them, I think the majority of people buying them tend to ask for deck help. Terrence, I think you may have hit on it. I think what we may I don't know how much this would help overall because I think it would still cut engagement, but I think what may help it is separating it into here's the section where I am. Oh, I just thought that was funny. Okay, then I'm gonna change the form because I don't want people to feel like they're assholes. I was just like, oh, that's a funny reference. That's very that's very good feedback. Okay. I'll keep it a buck. I felt a slump too. I've been rather disinterested in the roast because a ton of the decks feel either like quirky joke deck or a rather generic EDH recce list where there's not all that much to talk about. I don't think we could deal with percentage. Okay. Little Mix Doom will quite frankly, this is much more important feedback than the variety game pool thing. We will circle back to the variety game pool thing in a little bit. Okay, so Mm, sorry, it doesn't resonate for me that because the highs have been so high, uh, that the average feels less compelling. The person paying should be the priority in getting what they want, but Miowski has raised the very good point that in an attempt to be pithy, I have not provided the people purchasing the level of granularity necessary to ask for exactly what they want. It helps a lot, yes. It helps very much, Alec Man. Okay, it rarely feels fresh. The roast have now settled into the same slot that rewatching my shows fits. Okay. That resonates with me a lot too, because I have certainly felt the struggle of like, there's only so many ways to tell people that stock up is a good blue card. Well, Cave Smasher, your deck I think is one of the high points. Your deck was a one funny premise that two had a very specific problem. Those are like, oh Sam, you're not piling on. No, no, no. This is perfect. This is good. Again, this is healing. This is not dunking. This is me being like, okay, I'm not actually fighting ghosts. I am feeling a real thing. Is your goal more roasts or more views? I feel like the roasts are tailored to the entrenched, not the average viewer. Following along as a viewer is tough unless you are super deep into Magic and have all the context. I think right now, yeah, 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 I feel that. It is what can we do? What can we do to increase viewership without risking any customer satisfaction? Like I don't want to. I know one thing that sucked me in the beginning was hearing little tidbits about how people had roast history that you were working on. Do you mean like, oh, this deck builder has had this ongoing problem? Improvement from individuals over time. Okay. At this point, I just buy a roast to make sure my deck building is moving in the right direction, not for humor or entertainment. Okay, so we like stuff that I'm interested in. I think that's generally one for one is like if the performer is more enthusiastic about the thing they're doing, the thing's going to be better. Okay. Let me pitch let me pitch something else then. White bread, I don't think I need to run a poll. I think I have an okay schema of what people are buying it for based on the notes they leave. Miowski has raised a very good point of the options I have for do you want feedback are not working very well, and I should change them. Um, well, Terrence, it does already ask that, and the average response. average deck roast, not primer, not primer. Average but the average response to that question in the pre-roast area is like, do whatever. Gotta make it Comic Sans. This is the, if you could do that like Time magazine where they consolidate like the faces of everybody and like, this is what every human's gonna look like in 300 years. That's the sentence. That is 100% the sentence, is um is they effectively say like, you know, oh yeah, you can make fun of me, but the deck does need some help though. It's possible I've always misunderstood the form. I assume fuck you, my deck has no pathetic cards meant don't roast me. Deck help would mean make suggestions. Yeah, and that's another thing where I think we have to change the form. Fuck you, my deck has no pathetic cards means you don't want me to recommend swaps. Fuck you, my deck has no pathetic cards means only make fun of me. And if I am to bring up a different card, it is only to show off how bad your deck is. Cairo, we do have that. I do have a question now that's like, what stuff from this deck cannot be cut? Okay, we really like the slideshows. Um, I think another thing I might try doing, and I know we have a number of roasties in the comments. I would love your feedback on this next idea. Another thing I might try doing is substantively limiting what you can tell me about the deck in the primer. This is not 100% of the time, but I will say the longer your primer, the worse the roast is probably going to be. Because some of the moments that have felt the funniest for me when I'm doing a deck roast is your primer says like, I want to make big scary guys. And then I see a like 5 mana 1/1 and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then they say in chat like, no, but it does this. No, but it does this. Like those miscommunications. Alec, you should feel fear. You should feel fear in your heart about this idea because the because those little misunderstandings are comedy gold. Like it was like, oh, Darebrained. If Darebrained is here, Darebrained, for their birthday roast, sent me an alternate primer, and their alternate primer did not have, did not say that it had Hullbreaker Horror in it because they wanted Hullbreaker Horror to be the reveal in the deck itself. And personally, I thought getting to open the deck with the sentence, like, I just saw the words Little Bean and Hullbreaker Horror in the same sentence was better than that. I might have been wrong about that. But I will say the shorter primers give me more to work with comedically. Because what you need to work with in comedy is oftentimes like smoke and mirrors and misdirection. Also, Dirty Dan, thank you so much for the 20 stream streak. I appreciate you coming to the dog park today. When do you read primers? For mine coming up, honestly, I'd rather go in raw then. I read primers. I tend to not read them out loud once they get past a couple sentences, because then it's too much like, it becomes too much of like you're paying for a cameo. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's just like for the for the snappiness. On that note, how did you feel about my prismatic bridge jump scare? A plus. A plus. So leaving out that I had Corvold and Hearthhole, because that bit was great when you saw him. Yes. Yes. Like I think the instruction I might put out to, and I'll put it on the form that I put out to roasties in the future is like, you get this many words. Give me one sentence about the feeling you wish to evoke, and one sentence about how you are effectuating that mechanically. Because I do think the ones, when I see a long primer, my brain, like, unfortunately, I'm a nerd. I wish I was just a silly jock. But unfortunately, I'm a chemical engineering graduate who loves min-maxing stuff. And I can 100% say that whenever I see a long primer, my uh whenever I see a long primer, my brain goes into mechanic mode. If I'm like reflecting on if I'm reflecting on the energy I've been bringing to the deck roast, whenever I'm like, "Oh, this is two paragraphs. This is two paragraphs. I am telling you how to play stock up." And so I think that's a yeah, and people are chiming in with yeah, my Prava Ikrit Siddiqui, yeah. Yeah, and I do think it should 9 times out of 10. I do think I have to communicate right, Mr. Meowski, and that should work, right? It should. It's a thing where in the Mind Palace it does work. Um but because of how my psychology wraps around it in practice it doesn't. And so yeah, and then I think the other thing that I need to communicate expectations wise is stop giving me stop giving me the punchline, right? Like we don't, which I know is frustrating because some of those, me and the deck builder, or like how they tagged it or something, the bump set spike is truly beautiful, but I think I may have to limit it to, I may have to limit it to like, you can tag funny. And Starry, I do agree. Chromium was good. Chromium, taking that bit and running with it was the correct decision. But I think more and more we've been veering on like we've been veering on more and more air quotes normal decks that are relying on average longer and longer primers to try to generate the interest. And I think I have to find a new balance of like you're going to get your deck roasted. The deck has to speak for itself. Like you can tell me, you could, you know, if we're doing, yeah, Mr. Ninja with the crowd work example, you can tell me where you work. You can tell me if you're married. Everything after that, I'm going after how you dress. Okay, so I think that's an expectations thing to communicate to the viewers, well, to communicate to the customers, because it is, I think it's reasonable to think, ah, funny man, funny man going to make joke about my deck. If make joke about my deck, need information about my deck to make joke about. That makes sense. That makes total sense. But it doesn't work in practice. In practice, you tell me all these things, and I go like, ah, this list of things so big, we are now grocery shopping. Not funny time. Car not working. Car not working. Need fix car. Oh, that's awesome, Little Mix too. I'm glad that your mom enjoyed the deck roast. Yeah, we could boil it down to like Spike, Timmy, Johnny. Hey, thank you, Eshilder. What's the best way to get a commander roasted? Um, Commenting on TikTok or YouTube. I am still sourcing all commander roasts from streaks that are on TikTok and YouTube. Okay, that feels good. Um, Changing the pyramid. My favorite deck roast of all time of yours was Oops All Tarkir, where every time you hovered the next horrible Tarkir common, you kind of crashed out simply because that deck was an honest brew made with love, not because the creator was giving you a wink wink nudge nudge, isn't this bad thing. Yeah. I don't make my primers long because I'm expecting that the info will make the roast funnier. It's because I feel context is important, details matter, and I think it'd give you more to work with for proper deck building advice. Does that help? A little, yes. Um, I guess Elikman is kind of like the core audience in terms of population that would be impacted by this change. How would you how would you feel if the deck roast was like 15 minutes of you don't get context, I'm ripping on you, 15 minutes of okay, fix it, fix it. Send pizza. I was so happy to hear that. That's so fucking funny. Because that's one way we could navigate it. Because the issue is if we confront, if we try to go like, we need all this context for the proper deck building help. At that point, we're just doing upgrades. Yeah, Darebrand. I also think the original primer was better. It did. I think your updated primer would have helped if the deck needed more changes. The reason the updated primer bit you in the ass was because the deck didn't need a lot of help. Lucius, that is actually a great idea, and it's one of the things we are going to be adding. But that's a great idea. I think it resulted in what happened with Hearthhole. Excellent first half, drags afterward. That being said, I have been making a concerted effort to make my primer short. Okay. I think Hearthhole also had the difficulty of like the cards. Uh, I was genuinely at a loss for the type of cards we needed to make that deck work in the way you wanted it to work, because we wanted it to be good land sack, but also not fall into the trap of like, this is Gitrog Monster deck. Like this is Gitrog Monster play 18 lands per turn deck. I do think I should have just been like, and that's another thing where in the quest for customer satisfaction, I tend to drag on too long, even though you guys will be more satisfied if I cut it off sooner. Like for the Hearthhole deck roast, the prevailing thought I had after that stream ended was I should have said something to the effect of like, How about you hew some fucking Entwoods, nerd, and then Vine boomed you and then said next? Because we spent like 20 to 30 minutes trying to go over other card options for the deck that weren't really there, and the only type of other like big hit we could find was Hew the Entwoods, and I think there was maybe like one other hot card, so it wouldn't have truly been like Hew some Entwoods next. But being willing to say there's not much out there, tectonic split, yeah, being willing to say there's not much out there to help you. Cramped, welcome home from your work Christmas party. Have some water and lay down, king. Or queen, or region of non deterministic gender. And then Sauron something. Where the hell's Sauron's comment? I can't even. Would it be worth to charge for content that you wouldn't even stream? E.g., someone literally just wants advice. You record a 20 to 30-minute video critique that you send them personally. That's actually what I was about to ship. Which is weird because I talked to Z yesterday and I was like, a thing I don't want to offer is a deck roast, but worse. Um, but I do think a thing that it might be worth splitting out, especially off the person who commented that, like Lord Xavier, I think. Lord Xavier commented, I basically only send it in now to check that my deck building is going in the right direction, not for comedy, not for deck building. Um, and I do think that I have a unique-ish, and I'm speaking unique-ish amongst like the YouTube community, philosophy of what decks I think are great, and what direction I think decks should go in. There might be, maybe there is a space to sell advice more cheaply than a roast, and it's not streamed. It would be more accessible for the people who just want advice, and it would leave more slots open for people who had more of a spectacle deck. If it's just me being like, 20 minutes of, hey, I think this is a play pattern problem your deck will bring up. Hey, I think this is a glaring weakness in your deck. And then that way, you guys don't have to be like, oh, well, I kind of want this, like, I'm having this mechanical issue with my deck, and then maybe he could make fun of like my 10 copies of Heir Apparent. I'd argue since it's personal and you wouldn't make money off of the content, you could charge more for advice. I would feel morally bankrupt doing. I think that's just a me psychology thing. I do think that argument bears fruit. That because like the roast, I get paid to do it. I get paid to stream it on Twitch. I get paid when the VOD is posted on YouTube. It is no exaggeration to say that deck roasting is the absolute backbone of this channel. The Commander roast got me started. The deck roasts are 100% why this is my job now. Yeah, like the reason the deck roasts are so expensive is because you're paying for spectacle. Like part of and that's actually low-key why I worry so much about the Twitch analytics and the trends. Like I think part of what you're paying for is to show your deck to the class. Like show Twitch chat your deck, and we all talk about it. Um, an award show type thing for decks. That's a cute idea. So maybe there is a um maybe there is a tier, and maybe this is, or maybe a different level of commission. A different level of commission that is like somewhere between 20 and $30, where you can just get, here's direct advice. I'm sure that I will end up throwing in like one or two jokes, just because that's how I talk. Like, I don't uh the best thing about being a content creator for me is that saying odd shit all the time is not a bit. It's not contrived. It is just how I live my life. Okay, and then maybe we could, and maybe that's the thing that allows for more free raffles, because I think the free raffles have gone pretty well. We've gotten some pretty good deck ideas out of them. We've also been like able to pull a lot of the deck ideas that are like, this is too stupid for me to spend $70 on it. Like, I think that's a genuine thing we're fighting against now, is even though they're priced according to demand, the pricing is now high enough that people don't have $70 to be like, oh, here's my complete dumbass creation. And so if there's traction with the Kaiser, I think Kongming was more my bad than yours. Cow Cow was great. Cow Cow was awesome. I don't hate the idea on paper, but if I just want advice, I'm going to Veggie Wagon. He helped the last 3 decks I sent in, and he helped the one I wanted to send next month too. I send them not just to show them to the class, not just for your unique perspective, but also because of the humor. That is, yes, that is very important, because providing advice primarily, historically not been my bag. My moat on that is not as good. Oh, the people who have no idea what they're doing are for sure some of the funniest deck builders, because you get people who will like you want to know what word is you want to know what word has historically been just like a complete death sentence to the humor of a roast is, well, it's what I had in my collection. I only have so many Wendy's dumpster type jokes I can pull out of the fucking holster. And I think that's been the hardest sticking point, is when I'm like, why on earth would you choose such a dog shit card? And then they go, well, functionally I didn't choose it, therefore not my fault. Fuck, man. I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling bulk boxes. Come on. And that's not the viewer's fault. But I do think this is maybe the type of thing that could be solved by splitting the advice tiers and the roast tiers. Yeah, retired from Magic and submitted an old deck, I think, is different. Or oops all Tarkir is different. I think what I'm alluding to is, if I come after you in the roasting bit and you go, well, this wasn't actually a deliberate choice as a defense, it takes the air out of that comedy. That's another thing that I have to figure out how to fix on my end. Do you think my Abzan Voltron deck was comedically good? Perhaps comedically bad. Is this the one? Was this the like the weird counters deck that eventually changed into different commanders? Bestow sub theme. Oh, that one I don't know. That one I felt like dragged too much. I think there were good moments in there, and I think as a whole, um, I think as a whole, most of the deck roasts are probably twice as long as they should be. I've been wanting to submit my very first commander deck. I still have it timestamped from 2015. I think mainly proxying is great. Yeah, so maybe decks that I actually think are cool consistently make for the best ones. I sent oh, the way you build your decks. I don't remember enough about them. I'm sorry to say. The I think the decks that I actually think are cool tend to make for better roasts, even though I expect them not to. And part of that is an issue with managing my own sense of humor because I often think of, oh, people came for a roast. That means they want it to be like biting. That means they want it to be a little bit like, I'm going to get you. But in practice, the stuff people like the most are the things that I like the most. Like I think a really good one that stood out in recent memory was the Titanic deck, and I would be interested to see if chat feels the same way. Was the Titanic deck that I ended up hating how much I liked it. Where I started looking at it and I was like, "Oh, this is bullshit." And then by the end of the roast I was like, "Oh, this is bullshit." I think those typically are some of the best ones. Um I think Cave Smashers Mono Blue Burn deck also hit on that thread where it won me over time. Um, it was the Jace. The Jace was perfect. And did my Get Goifed loser deck hit that kind of thread? I think so. Yeah, Peregrine Dynamo. That was such a good one. That was such a good one. Have any of my decks hit it for you? I don't think they've hit that funny bone thing, mainly because I go into like mechanic mode. I go into like mechanic who's trying to be a little bit yappy because you're typically providing so much context that I then go like, ah, we're locking in. We're locking in, we are figuring out the nuts and bolts of this deck. Okay. What about mine? You're the worst deck builder I've ever seen. Okay. So I think then I think what we should move to, or what I should try doing, is reaffirming the roasts as primarily comedic in nature. Oh, Maltown, I continue to have a decent win rate with Kainios and Tiro of Miletus. I continue to applaud you for beating up children. They deserve to know that life is full of hardship and big gay men. Good job. My buddy, who just recently got back into Magic after many years, said he loved watching your roast in my Bellacore deck. He said he loved watching your knowledge of cards and what I needed and the time you took diagnosing it. Okay. I think what all of this is coming around to is there probably should be a different price for on stream deck roast and off stream deck feedback. And that if you well, sorry, the thing is, I think the comedy is always going to rely on the mechanics a little bit. Part of the comedy is always going to be, hey, here's this really funny card you need in this deck right now. I think the part that needs to get cut is, hey, play stock up. If I was going to, yeah, if I was going to like imagine all of the words I have ever said about any decks, it would probably be like stop talking about stop talking about consult the star charts and instead just like hammer on what a bad person you are. Because I do think a lot of the better ones comedically either involve like either involve no changes or complete overhaul. Or it's like the best ones involve like one or two changes or complete overhaul. Real talking about Roxanne Rose, out of the 10 cards you recommended, I think two made it into the deck. That's extremely useful. It digs one card shallower than stock up, instantly worse. Tremendously worse. Um okay, so I think actually so I think here's what we actually have to do. For the deck roasts, I think I should create a shareable version of the PowerPoint. A shareable version of the PowerPoint that has quote unquote normal cards. And by that I mean for just like a number of colors or archetypes, I have a set list. Maybe I make one Mox field and I tag them by archetype and I just go like, if you're having trouble with reliability, cross check what you're currently using for card advantage and removal against this list, um, and see if you have any that are glaringly worse. And those become cards where, unless it is like the punchline to a joke, I cannot speak their name on stream. And the only things I'm speaking the name of on stream is like, yo, dog, you need this pussy. You need this pussy right now. Um, and then I could even say on stream like, hey, you are missing this pillar of gameplay. Go to the document. Go to the document and fix your fucking removal. Um, and then for roasts like yours, Alec man, like the only cards I really talk about are like Hugh the Entwood's Tectonic Split. I only spend real estate on stream talking about this is a pure on theme big funny card to upgrade with. Or card that you will like that will be a downgrade, but you will enjoy more. I think that could also drag new viewers to the Discord or stream in pursuit of the document. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Gravity, have fun at Riftbound. Thank you for being here today. Yeah, so let me try to summarize some of this. Um, Meowski, we are moving off Clanker because of linguistic similarities in how it's used with the N word. But yes, hilarious card. Hilarious card. Uh, all right, so maybe I have. So we have the document. We have the document that is, as Elikman said, power benchmarks. And then the stuff I'm recommending to you is how do you enjoy yourself more? And I can tell you on stream, hey, you're missing power benchmarks. Check out, go to the files for power benchmarks. But the stuff we actually talk about is like, hey, you are missing out. You are missing out on dopamine. Here is the dopamine card. Here are your cards that do not provide dopamine. And then maybe that takes the stress off me. That takes the stress off me um to be like, oh, how am I to recommend Buster Sword when this person doesn't even draw cards? Like they don't you can't have your Buster Sword without eating your consult the star charts. Yeah, I like that a lot because that has been I think that has been a persistent issue where it feels like more and more I have been um recommending just like normal shit, which is making them blend together too much. I do think that means people it is going to require that people get okay with shorter roasts, which it sounds like people is a thing that is wanted. Like it sounds like one of the most common complaints right now is that they take too long talking about normal shit instead of dragging you through the mud or showing you the road to El Dorado or whatever. Would the power benchmark be Patreon exclusive or free to the public? Um, I think it would be free to the public, but just like only sent to Patreon members, and I just wouldn't like police it. Crimson Hex, right now, the average deck roast lasts between 40 minutes and 60 minutes in general. I think some of the very quick ones are 30 minutes or just under. But I think in this new paradigm, we would probably be looking for 30 minutes or less. We're like a pizza joint. Here's your insults, hot and meaty. All right. So then we can see how that sells, and we can try opening up a couple slots a week for. I do think some people like that kind of advice personally. Mr. Miowski, I think what you're speaking to right now, I just need to film more video essays. Like, not even roast. I just need to, like, have a 10-minute YouTube video about, like, what removal is actually good. And then I do a bunch of jokes in that video. Or I have another video about, like, what, uh, what wind conditions actually work. Like, what can you actually, like, that's just shit I should be publishing. Oh, but your special sauce is also riffing, so I was trying to figure out a weird hybrid. Yeah, I think we'll iterate on it for sure. And I would still be telling people to run stock up, but I would just be like, I think it would be more in a like this. It would be bringing back slides like this. And then we still tell them like, hey, playable card, totally useful card. Check out this list of useful cards that I think people should add to their decks. Consider that it may be zero as well. I was proud of that sentence. I was proud of that sentence for sure. Yeah, we never truly got that video essay arc we were promised months ago. I'd be down to see it. Exactly, and that's another. It's another victim. Hold on, million ants. You're being robbed. That could be a video title. But that's been another victim of the hamster wheel, where it's always like I have to do the next dodge roll, and a video essay is a charge attack, and I just have never allowed myself to save up the stamina to charge attack. I will repeat, I am desperate for generic deck advice long form videos. Tiamat and the Immaculate Five was beautiful. I think that was another deck roast that was that was helped extremely by the fact that I liked it. Like the mantra that I um the mantra that I repeat to myself most commonly is I must be rooting for you. I must be. Because if there's any, even if I'm angry, like I think the Tamio roast is a good example of that, where I hated everything the deck stood for, and I was trying very hard to be rooting for the deck. Deep down. Surface level, I was malding. But I think the really bad roasts are the ones where I'm not rooting for the deck. Like those are the least satisfying ones, both for me and the customer and for the audience. But the ones where I want it to be great and it is great, want it to be great and it's not yet great, but I see the path to make it great, or want it to be great and it's instead great at a thing I fucking hate. Those are kind of the three pillars of that's a gonna be a good stream, gonna be a good video, gonna be a happy person who has bought the deck roast. Okay. Oh yeah, Lord Xavier. That one was also a beauty. Yeah, Crimson, it is a difficult balance, but I do think it's possible to be rooting for somebody even if they are an abject failure. I don't think I've hit that balance well yet. I have a bad sense of balance, but I do think it's totally possible to be like, I want you to have a good time. You have ruined your opportunity to have a good time because of these terrible, terrible cards, and we're going to save you. And we're going to save you. All right. We can we can test that immediately. I love being able to just put things into practice instead of theory crafting them. So I think what we will do is this Sunday I will set off stream advice review for sale on Ko-fi. We will see how it impacts. This Sunday I'll be in LA, so it won't be getting like I can do it from my phone. I think if I can't do it from my phone, it'll happen Monday. If it can't happen, if it can't happen from the phone, it will happen Monday. But in tandem with the next week of deck roasting, I will put out an announcement detailing the change in expectations, the change in what you can expect me to provide you with a deck roast, and the ability to just purchase uh, advice. And then we will see how that goes. Is it a review where you voice chat with somebody? Sometimes having feedback in the moment is nice. It would not be. Um, I think scheduling that would be a disaster, quite frankly. Scheduling that would probably undo anything even resembling a schedule that I currently have. Why am I being pinged? Okay. A little corporate, but could you send roast feedback surveys to customers? Yeah, I could start doing that as well. Yeah, and it's only really corporate if I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the corporate touch has more to do with the fact that we're like, Safeway doesn't fucking care. Safeway doesn't give a fuck, man. Uh, so yeah, we should do some like exit interviews for the deck roast as well. Yeah, like it's corporate if I'm looking for a 5-star review to like publish on my Ko-fi page, but if I'm just like, "Hey, person to person, did you enjoy that? Was that what you were looking for when you paid me that money? And did you feel like you got your money's worth?" Also, do you or Z know how to bake? I'm baking brown butter and toffee chocolate cookies, and the chemistry that is baking has me tilting. I mean, both of us know how to bake at a decent level. Opt is card draw when it flips terminus on your opponent's turn. All right, dog. You've played too much Disco Elysium. Your brain is fucking melting. All you know about now is advanced race theory. You don't know anything else about Magic. Okay, so then we have all these new tools. We have all these new tools now. Let's go back to the other slideshow. So I'm going to hook up with a token artist. We are going to try a limited tier that would be an art stream. Lumberjack Shaggy, they would just be card stock for the foreseeable future. For like the next like 3 months, it would just be card stock. Before we'll see how it goes before I worry about adding additional bells and whistles. Right, variety game. Is there a way? Is there a way, whether it was via channel points, Ko-fi, or Patreon, to get people to put variety games up? I think the core thing is this. It would probably have to be a channel point thing. It would probably have to be, because another thing I wanted to talk about today was stuff we could do to increase Twitch satisfaction, and because we don't really have a way for people to use channel points. We have prestiging your Discord role. That's basically it right now. The random smasher passes are back. The custom cards are extremely cheap to make sure they're accessible for the people that can't afford them. So for Twitch, Cecil, thank you for the random smasher pass. Smash all of it. So for Twitch, I think the stuff we're gonna bring back is I think I am going to bring back being able to purchase a custom card review not on Thursdays. And so I would probably still keep it limited to like we would only review 3 to 5 on a given day. It would be pretty expensive. I think it would be like thousands. But bring back the ability to look at custom cards not on Thursdays. Not Q. Variety games raffle pool. This would probably be the most difficult to implement because there would need to be a lot of rules on it. I think one of those rules would have to be like, must be free or under $5, must be under a certain price limit, file size limit, etc. And then we could have maybe like 1 to 2 days a month where we do a stream that is just chat's game. Kaiser, maybe it is possible to have like the peak be you can get a guaranteed deck roast if you just get enough channel points. I don't want to promise that until I feel confident that the quality of the roasts have come back up. The custom card button is meant to be redeemable at the moment. It just doesn't do anything. Marble Race is a good idea. The issue with Let me look. Let me see if we could do this. Hold on. Because the issue with doing it as a marble race would primarily be that I couldn't just like let everybody enter. I would need to limit it to only people who had actually purchased contributing to the variety games pool. But to do that, hmm. Yeah, the problem is if a lot of people do it, yeah, and I mean like, right, I can enter the names of the marbles yourself, but if a lot of people do it, I don't have a good way to get them in a file and copy paste them. And so it's not a problem if like 30 to 50 people limit it. I don't think I have. Oh, you know what I could do? I could put a per stream limit. Yeah, okay. I could put a limit on how many people could redeem it over the course of a given stream, and that would by necessity limit how many people were able to suggest a game before the next raffle happened. Okay, we could do that. That's how we're going to try it. We will do Marble Race determines we play chat's game. My 16,000 card landfall cube is finally done. Honda Accord. I presume this is some sort of like Faustian bargain, and now your soul will finally go back to hell from whence it came. What's going on? 16,000 card landfall cube. Who did what to you? Who gardened your ass? All right, so let's. We have one-off custom card reviews. We have Variety Games raffle pool. Do we need other shit? Oh, like obviously has to be safe for work. Damn. Would midstream customs work like they did previously, where the redeems are timed and capped, or would there be new logistics surrounding them? Yeah, I think getting extras via Dono would be dead and buried given the Thursday stream. Um, I think I would just make them more expensive and just cap a total number per stream, and then we have like a set custom card break. Maybe some sort of deck roast for like some massive amount of points. Okay, people with large amounts of Twitch channel points. How many do you have? Existential Breads, thank you so much for the $20 tip. That is incredibly generous of you, and I appreciate it very, very much. I am currently logging into Streamlabs to try to find the tip message. All right, 360, 166, 134, 126. Please add Magetta the Lion. Thank you. All right, we got some Magetta the Lion time. 75K, and I think you missed our redeemed a Discord role. Jaces, can you pop any message into Dear Maldhound so that I have your Discord handle and I will add the role to you? 18.7K, I missed a ton. Okay. then I guess the target audience right now is the people who don't have many. So anybody who has less than 50K or less than 100K, if you knew you could get your deck roasted at 200K, would that motivate you meaningfully to come to more streams? Or would it just be like, meh? Yes, no, yes in all caps. Yes, I probably would. Yes, I'm never redeeming in my life until then. Okay. Would just motivate me to watch more on Twitch than YouTube TBH. Meh. Okay. I'll think about that then. All right. Here's the deal I make. We will prestigious, we're gonna add ranks to Twitchy. So you'll be like Twitchy 2, Twitchy 3, Twitchy, like Roman numeral style. But we have to make, I have to come up with a color grading scheme. Right. The problem is my current sample size. We're doing a non-deck roast stream. We're doing a like just hanging out stream. So this is already my most politically radicalized viewers. Ace Power, thank you for the 7 stream streak. I appreciate you coming to the dog park. Okay, so here's the deal I'll make with you all. At the end of January, or maybe in the middle of January, maybe like a month from now, maybe like a month from now, we will reconvene, and I will have a day to reflect on how I feel the deck roasts have changed, and if I feel like they have come back up to their former quality and their former customer satisfaction, and if they're going faster. And if they have, I will begin. I don't think I could make it a redeem that was available all the time. I think what would happen is some days you would be able to purchase the guaranteed deck roast with channel points, and some days we would do free roast raffles to kind of spice it up a little bit between gambling and not gambling. As weird as this is going to sound, I've enjoyed this hanging out stream a lot. It's interesting to hear your thought process on all this. That's very nice of you to say, Lord Xavier. I'm glad you're enjoying it. This was one of the things that people liked a surprising amount from the subathon, was just like me making the content on stream and walking through it. And I like to think that I'm a relatively earnest and articulate guy. Can I get the sum up of the channel updates? Absolutely, yes, you can, because I think we're at the end of them. What's going to be happening on Patreon, the tools are going to get, or the tiers are going to get reconfigured. Now at the $5 and starting at the $5 and $10 tiers, you will be getting custom tokens. It's going to take a little while to set up, because I have to commission an artist to design these tokens, and I have to talk with Decked Out about how they manage the logistics of it, because I don't want to start offering this and then have it be like, well, shipping is $8, and so, the $5 tier is actually now a loss leader, da-da-da-da-da. But we're going to make custom Maultown tokens, and those are going to go out on Patreon. We're going to add another tier. Do the tokens work for international/EU? Instinct is no. I'm going to talk to Nerd Girl about that, but every other creator I've talked about who mails out physical things says like, oh, but of course we don't do international. And so I will see what the logistics are, and um, I will see if we can do it. But typically, what I see from my peers is no, we're not doing it. There's going to be a higher tier, probably $20, that will have a limited number of sign up opportunities where you can request a card for me to draw a hand drawn altar. It will be very shitty. Think this Craterhoof behemoth. There is also going to be a commander pod a month. You can pay to play with me. These will be 3 hours long. We will play however many games we can fit in 3 hours. There will be a Rule Zero conversation. It will be open deck list that you share with the rest of the pod ahead of time. And we're going to see how that goes for 1 month, and then open it up more, keep it the same, close it down. Who knows? There is also going to be a once a month commission to sponsor a long form deck roast video in which you send me a deck you want a video to be made of, or you send me a deck idea that you cannot make work, and I will make it work, and I will make a like 10-minute YouTube video making fun of it. They've been done in... What's wrong with waves of limited time drops? What's wrong with like every other month, like here's however many tokens? Because that's what Decked Out currently does. I was under the impression like... Is that not how everybody does it? Effectively, Alec Man, I'm gonna talk to Decked Out, and probably whatever Decked Out's doing, I'm copying. On top of this, we are going to try splitting the deck roasting into, you can also purchase a pre-recorded just 20 minutes of like advice and review, where I might make 1 or 2 jokes. I'm generally a silly person. I will probably try to be silly as I look at the deck. But if you don't care about the spectacle of it being on stream, or if you want the help to be more mechanically focused than gimmick focused, there will be a cheaper option that is like, you submit this at the beginning of the week. By the end of the week, you get a like 15 to 20 minute video in which I walk through your deck and tell you like, this is what I think you're doing well. This is what I think you're doing badly. These are like the politics problems I think your deck would have. These are cards I think you could cut or add to improve those problems. Have a great day. This might just be a me thing then, but I don't like that if you want this thing, you got to pay now or it's gone forever. That's fair, but also the logistics on like, if you pay... I feel like it doesn't work to go, if you've paid me $5, here's 50 tokens. I think that really quickly becomes a losing deal. It will certainly be a predictable cycle. It will certainly be a predictable cycle. We're not going to be doing the tokens like a secret lair drop or something like that. Could there be a shop after they've cycled out? I don't think they would ever cycle out. I think it would just be like, I think it would just be like a random pull every time. Oh yeah, I could also just put the paid I could put the paid image files up too. So if you're like, "Oh, I need more goblins," you could just proxy goblin tokens. And then you could have like, "Oh, this is a nice like here's the nice one Maulhound signed. Great." And then because I have a Krenko deck, I've proxied 20 more goblin tokens. Maybe that could separate no, 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 no. And then Austin, the only other changes are on for Twitch channel points. We are making it so that you can get custom cards reviewed outside of custom card days again. They're going to be super expensive though. And then we're also going to be making a variety games raffle pool. So you can spend a lot of channel points, and then once or twice a month, we will do a marble race to pick a chat game. I think we would add new stuff every month. I'm not really sure how the back end's gonna work. Quinn, I don't know. I'm gonna be frank with you. I have no fucking idea. I'm going to talk to Decked Out about how they do it, and that's how we're gonna do it. So variety games raffle pool. You can get custom cards. You can get custom cards done outside of custom card redeem days. Yeah, and then the next the next big hurdle we have to cross is I have to figure out how to bring these advantages to the YouTube audience, because the weird thing is that like Twitch number go up is like the quintessential streamer metric. Um and Twitch on the whole pays me more than YouTube does. The YouTube ad revenue is so much better than the Twitch ad revenue. It's like it's not I think like financially it's not a winning trade to have the average person move over from YouTube to Twitch. It's actually a losing trade. It's um it's a winning trade if that person moves over to Twitch and then has an Amazon Prime sub. That's a winning trade. Or if like something we're doing if there's like a sub goal they like, or if moving to Twitch convinces them, oh, here's this thing I would like to spend money on, then it's a winning trade. But otherwise, I think YouTube has been left high and dry for too long, and I don't know if I can just fix that by getting a different bot than Cloudbot. Does YouTube even have a watch time tracker like channel points? I don't think it does, is the thing. I do think there are other bots. Like I know Z uses something called Firebot, and I think that's present in multiple chats. Because I know what I could do is I could set up a different bot that tracked its own points. YouTube does not have internal channel points. Oh, hold on. Elikman, thank you, but I think I'm all right. I will circle back on this with you if Decked Out is unable to give me everything I need. But right now, I think Decked Out can give me everything I need. Problem with doing a similar thing on YouTube is people will just watch on both and get twice as many rewards. That's not a problem, quite frankly. If my entire audience is watching on both platforms all the time, um, I think that is like a pricing thing on my end. That is a pricing thing on my end to make work. Um, that just makes number go up everywhere though. If number go up everywhere, who care? Who care if I review one additional custom card per stream? Yes, we did Jezebel. So Little Mix Doom, I'm not sure about the TOS on that. I think a lot of ROM hack stuff on Twitch is very don't ask, don't tell. Like if you just say, "Ah, I'm playing this game today. How did I get it? Nobody knows. A man under the river. He sold it to me for a goose bill." Um, like if you just rock up playing the game, typically nothing happens to you. But I don't think I can advertise or advocate for we are playing this hack. Here is where I'm getting it from. I think that's where you start to get into trouble. All right. I like all of this. Austin, no, these would be videos sent to you, but they would not be posted on the channel because they would not be, their basis would not be entertainment. Their basis would be, um, well, yeah, he's alpha rad. If you're massive, it's different. Much, much like how all of our society works. If I had, if I had 1,000 people watching me right now, I would just be like, hell yeah, we can raffle off ROM hacks. That would be my position. But because we are out here in the low triple digits, we are following the law. Uh Congratulations on your kitty time, Jaces. Da 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 da. What else? What else? What else? Little Mix Doom, I really don't know. It's something I have to look into the legalities of because you also have to understand for a lot of this, like the legality of it is does a person working at Twitch like you or dislike you? If a physical person at the Twitch company likes you, you're probably safe. If a physical person at the Twitch company dislikes you, you're probably banned. And if you don't have either right, I know you are. I'm trying to explain why I don't have it. I'm not trying to come down on you for asking for the information. I'm just trying to provide context for why I genuinely don't know because so much of it is locked up in this like amorphous um amorphous. Oh yeah, just try it and see if anything happens and if nothing bad happens to you, I guess you're allowed to do it. All right, that feels very complete. Thank you all for spending all this time with me. Let's find somebody to raid. I think we've talked all the talk that can be had. Oh yeah, league champ reviews. That's another thing I want to do more of, but it requires me to fix my production timeline. Like it's just another thing of like it's a thing I want to do, but I know it will make less money and get less views than doing a commander row short, and so it always gets deprioritized. But it is a thing I would like to do, especially if I can escape the hamster wheel. All right, we're gonna raid Beard Princess, who is doing They're doing something weird. Hit him with the bald kai. Be kind. Thank you all for being here. I will be live again. Monday. No stream tomorrow. No stream Sunday. We're gone in LA for Pack It Up. I'll see you all Monday. I appreciate every last one of you. Have a good day, and please remember to stay toxic. YouTube, that's just it for us, but be on the lookout for announcements about all the stuff we talked about today, and then if I can find a way to bring viewership benefits to YouTube